Hello family, this your girl Zakia Jones, and we're back with another video. So look, I want to take y'all behind the scenes on how I do my healthy installs. We're going to be focusing mainly in this video on the braiding foundation that I like to do. As you can see, we went ahead and trimmed her ends, and we're going to be doing a middle part today. I'm using her nose as a guide for my middle part to make sure it's nice and center. And as you can see, I'm ducking down to get like eye level with her to make sure that we are on point for a center part. Another thing I like to do when doing a center part is have my client close their eyes so that I can focus on the nose as my guide and not be distracted by their eyeballs. So as you can see, I'm parting out and then I'm checking for thickness on each side. I want to make sure that I have the same amount of hair on each side of the part. And then I'm using the back of my comb to make sure that the comb is covered. If the comb is covered, then the track will be covered. So right now I'm just sectioning out a little bit of hair so that she can still have coverage but not have to worry about her whole edges being out. This is a minimum maintenance sewing. So I like to do 4 anchor braids, 2 on each side. I like to take my first anchor braid all the way across the back of the head and curve up to be blended in with the other side when I braid it down. So I do like to add a little bit of braiding hair to my installs just for extra security. Right here I'm just stretching out the braiding hair so that it doesn't leave me with a blunt finish. Okay guys, so I'm just braiding along the part. I am braiding close to her face, and I'm gonna zoom up real quick so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Bam. All right, I do this to make the sewing last longer. As the sewing grows, it will grow back away from her face. So the closer I can get the braid to the front of her hair, the longer the sewing will last. Okay guys, so we are moving on to the next anchor braid. We're going to be starting this braid from the center of her head. I'm just going to be taking a little bit of braiding hair, okay? Not a lot at all. We want this anchor braid to be small enough to give us a flat sewing. Okay, so now that we've completed the anchor braids on this side, now we're going to move on to the rest of the braids, which are just going to be going down and connecting as we go along. As you can see right there, I'm making sure that I have enough room for the hang time to touch the anchor braid. We'll tack it down in the next step, but this just allows for the sewing to be a lot more comfortable. Okay, so moving on to the other side, we're just going to pretty much do the same thing. There are a little bit of differences, so I will show you those along the way. Okay, y'all, so remember this piece that we have on this side from the anchor braid. We're taking a crochet needle and we're just going to bring that on inside the braid. Moving on to the next anchor braid. So our fourth and final anchor braid will be starting in the center but behind our second anchor braid, as you can see there. This makes it so that I don't have 2 small braids pulling in opposite direction of one another, which means less pain for the client. Okay guys, so with this final ankle braid, we have 2 braids that we'll have to add in. So I've already added in one, and now I'm adding in the other, again making sure that it is loose for comfort, and I'm just going to continue to braid down. The rest of the braids, guys, is just down. I'll go ahead and do that off camera, and I will meet you in the center of the head. All right, y'all, we at the finish line. Final braid. I'm connecting both braids from both sides into this final braid. I'm going to finish braiding it down, and I'm going to take my crochet needle, and I'm just going to bring it up underneath the last braid and tuck it in one more time into another braid. I'm just going to cut off the rest of that because that's just braiding hair. It's not her hair, so I'm just going to cut it off. We don't need it. And now we're using some anti-itch spray to spray her scalp and some growth cream for some good old growth. I'll link both products in the description box below. Okay, so remember I was telling you about this tack down that we were going to do. Okay, so we're nice and zoomed in. As you can see, I'm taking my needle and I'm going through the center of the ankle braid. I'm not going through the whole entire ankle braid because I don't want to pull on this ankle braid. Okay, so I'm going through the center of the ankle braid all the way across, and then I'll go ahead and tack the rest of the braids together, and you'll see that soon. All right guys, so let's zoom on in. So I'm taking my needle and I'm going through the center of one braid and through the center of the next braid. I'm not taking my needle up underneath the entire braid. I don't want my braids to overlap. I don't want any braids on top of each other. So I'm making sure that my braids are laying nice and flat in between each other, and I'm just going through the center of one and the center of another. I really hope that I am explaining that correctly. Okay, y'all, so I'm just going to finish up and work my way over to the other side. And now it's time to add the bundles. Like I said in this video, we're just focusing on the foundation. I will do videos where we're focusing on how I actually do the sewing part, but I do want to point this out in this video. I sew my first weft up underneath my ankle braid. I don't sew on top of it. If my client was to pull her hair up, I don't want that ankle braid to show, so I sew up underneath it. I also like to fold my tracks up until I get to the top, and then I will cut them, especially if the weft is super thick. This also helps with a nice flat sewing. Another thing I like to do is use cotton thread. To me, cotton thread just takes it more easy on the scalp, okay? The nylon thread pulls that thing tight, okay? So I like cotton thread because it's just more comfortable. I've been doing sewings for years and I've never had a problem with cotton thread, but I know to each his own, but cotton thread for me, baby. Okay, so I like to use my blue flat iron and then go after it with my red flat iron, which you guys will see in a minute. My blue flat iron is titanium. Titanium gets it really straight. The ceramic flat iron, the red one, just adds the shine and the smoothness. I share a lot of my tips and my tricks on my Instagram and my TikTok, so y'all make sure y'all go check me out over there. But yes, my boo is done. She is giving natural, sleek, shine. She is ready, okay? Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next video.